as the sun gets lower in the horizon, as we cross Lake Budamore in Oshkosh, we get closer to Appleton and the haunted history and mystery tour. And as I make it into Appleton, yeah, I don't like cutting it that close. I was nail biting for a little while there. Didn't think I was gonna make it, but I did, thank the Lord. And as we enter the Oneida Skyline Bridge over the Fox River, there it is, my second home in September and October. Appleton, Wisconsin. Isn't that pretty? And here we come up to Houdini Plaza. Right here on the right, that's where the tours are. And we've got nobody here, and this street is full. So when the street is full, I go down the street, and then I come back up. I turn here on Morrison Street, and is Joseph's open? Nope, good thing I didn't come. Hoping to have Joseph's, because I would have been a little upset and very hungry. So we had been blessed with very, very nice weather up here in Appleton, beautiful temperatures. That all changed during the week. This is our first real taste of fall weather. We have currently 56 degrees, and it's 5:56 as I film this PM. Our tour starts in 34 minutes, and it's supposed to get down to 39 tonight. Obviously, it's not going to be 39 while we're doing the tour, but it's going to be a lot chillier than it has been. No shorts weather for this guy. I await the arrival of my sister, and I have no idea where she will be. But I got probably one of the best spots you can get. I'm real close, right over here across the street. Well, that's in the way, but right over there, that's the Zilke building. We talk about the Zilke building on the tour. And right across the street, on the other side of this big old monument, is Houdini Plaza. So here we are at the beautiful Houdini Plaza in Appleton, getting ready for the Appleton Haunted History and Mystery Tour. It's a nice spot to start and a nice spot to end. We are waiting. There's Chuckles. And there's the bust of one Mr. Harry Houdini, who only lived here for 4 years in Appleton, but he called Appleton home. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Appleton Haunted History and Mystery Tour. I am Mike. That is Lori. Couple of things to know up front. If we were to go to every single stop that's on this tour, it would be about 25 miles. We're not walking 25 miles today. Our hope is down the road to get a bus and start doing bus tours and take you to the actual locations of everything on the tour. We do stop at about 5 places that have reports of hauntings. We do not go inside any of the buildings though. Some of the stories I'm going to tell you tonight may scare you guys a little. Some of the stories may frighten you a little bit. And some stories may terrify you. Got her. Always get one. Always get one. So just beware. Luckily, there's no kids on this tour. We do suggest that kids under 10 don't do the tour because our last stop is a pretty graphic stop. And you'd be surprised at what has happened in Appleton. We're going to tell you about the darker side of Appleton tonight that a lot of you may not even know. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, so Mike and I, we are actual paranormal investigators.
When she's not breaking stuff.
And I'm not breaking stuff. This is some of the stuff that we use. This is a K2 meter. So we'll use this for electromagnetic fields. And what it does is it'll pick up an energy that's non-electrical. If we walk around, like here, it's going to go off because there's a lot of electricity going around. But this is something that we've also used to do like EVP sessions. So this is a cool thing to have. This here is just a digital voice recorder. You know, we'll walk around with it, leave it in a room, see if we can pick anything up. This is a spirit box. What this does is this goes up and down radio frequencies, so you can talk in it, and then you can ask something, and sometimes during the sweeps you'll get an answer from somebody coming back. So this is pretty cool to have. And last but not least, this here is a video recorder, but this one just happens to have night vision capability. So, so there's regular vision, and then we can switch it over to night vision. Alright, so I'll show you guys. Regular vision, and then we pick it into night vision. Okay?
Do you have your picture ready?
I do not, but I can get it. So if you want to talk.
So we have done investigations in a lot of places in Wisconsin. We go on road trips, me and my sister, and we 2 years ago we did a road trip down to the Myrtles Plantation. That's down in St. Francis, Louisiana. Very cool place. At the time it was very affordable. It was like 140 bucks a night to stay in the main house. So we stayed in a room called the Ruffin Sterling Room. And reports are that 2 young kids passed away in that room of yellow fever. So we stayed in that room, and it's kind of cool because while you're there, everybody in that house is basically there for the same thing. And there's people running around saying, come into my room, can I come into your room, come into my room? And at 2, 3 in the morning, there's people running around the grounds trying to, you know, find stuff going on. It's a really cool place. If you ever go down there, check out the Myrtles Plantation. Even if it's just to like stop and eat there, it's a really cool place to check out. We were doing an investigation in our room, and we have this thing called the SLS camera. What an SLS camera is, if it picks up an anomaly, it'll show up as a stick figure. Now we were doing a little bit of an investigation in that room. She had the SLS camera, and tell them what you did.
All right, so the SLS camera, what it does is it'll turn anomalies into stick figures, okay? And this is just an app on your phone you can download. If you want all the bells and whistles that go with it, it's like $9 a year. So then you can record video and stuff like that. But this, we went down and I picked up this little guy here. All right, and then to make sure it was that, I changed the filter to make sure that it was something. And then I had asked it, can you go over and hold Mike's hand?
And at that time, I didn't feel anything like a cold spot, nothing.
Appleton, but always said that he was from Appleton. He was born Eric Weiss in Budapest, Hungary in 1874. He moved to Appleton in 1878 at the age of 4 when his dad became Appleton's first rabbi. And then they left 4 years later in 1882 when his father lost his job. Now they never said why his father lost his job. They had always believed it was because his father wouldn't convert to English in his sermons. He stuck with the Yiddish. So they believed that that's why he lost his job. So they left Appleton and they traveled down east where most people were going to New York City. Got to New York City at the age of 13. Had an interest in trapeze artists and magic, but neither one of those things seemed to work for Harry. What worked for Harry was escaping stuff. Straitjackets, handcuffs, whatever they could put on, okay? At the age of 19 is when he met his love and his, well, it later became his wife and his lifelong onstage partner, Wilhelmina Bess Ronner. At the age of 20 is when he changed his name from from Eric Weiss to Harry Houdini. He got Harry from his childhood nickname of Airy, and then he got Houdini from a magician that he admired, a French gentleman by the name of Jean-Robert Houdin. Okay? So at the age of 20 is when he started practicing more so with the escape artistry. Now we know him as the escape artist that he was, but he did other things, okay? He was in 5 films that he had under the Houdini Motion Picture Company. He wrote 23 books. He trained and he tried out for the Olympic swim team, but he didn't make it. He could hold his breath up to 4 minutes, even at the time of his death. That's pretty impressive. And he was the first gentleman to get an airplane off the ground in Australia. So there's things about him you probably didn't know. He had a relationship with a gentleman by the name of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Do you know who that is?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yep, Sherlock Holmes. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is the author of Sherlock Holmes. And when Harry's mom passed away, he was a mama's boy. He was very close to his mom. He made, he went to go try to contact her through mediums and psychics and things of that nature. And he found out more often than not that those people were frauds. So his lifelong ambition was to debunk those people so that people wouldn't waste their time or money going to see them. That in turn ended his relationship with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So now we go to what killed him. He was in New York doing a show, and a couple of guys from McGill University came up to see him, and he had the ability to tighten his abs and just let people repeatedly punch him in the stomach. So these boys asked him, do you still let people do that? And he said, yes, I do. But they didn't give him time to prepare, and they just started giving him blows to the stomach. So when he was on stage that night, he started getting very sick and sicker as the night went on. He refused to go to the hospital. The next day he was on a train for Detroit. When he finally got to Detroit, he finally went to the hospital. However, once he got to the hospital, his appendix had ruptured and the infection had spread throughout the body, and it was too late to save him. So he died on October 31st, 1926 at the age of 52. So just think of what he could have accomplished if he wouldn't have died so young. Every year on Halloween, people travel to the cemetery that he's buried at, and they'll break a wand over his grave. And they do this for all magicians because it signals that the wand, the magic has left the wand. Do you guys know who Doug Henning is? Does Doug Henning sound familiar at all? Okay. Doug Henning was a pretty big magician before David Copperfield. And in the mid-80s, he came right here with his wife Deb, and they did like a recreation of Metamorphosis, and I think it was on like NBC or something. You can see it on YouTube if you look it up. All right. So why do we meet here at Houdini Square, right there where that fountain is? That is where Harry Houdini's childhood home is.
And every year after Harry died, on the anniversary of his death, Beth would hold a seance. Before he died, he said, Bess, I'm going to tell you a phrase. If you ever hear that phrase during the seance, that'll let you know that it's me. Do you know what that phrase was? I believe. Never happened though. We're walking along the route of the Appleton Haunted History and Mystery Tour. It's got a nice little spook factor to it.
All right, so if you guys watch the ghost hunting shows, there's 3 types of hauntings that they cover. One is the residual haunting. That's like you were talking about with the battlefields. Old houses where stuff is just playing over and over again. Then you got intellectual hauntings. They're the ones that try to get in touch with you. So they're the ones that whisper. They're the ones that are closing cabinets. They're the ones that are slamming doors. They're trying to get your attention. The last one is demonic hauntings, which is something that we don't deal with, but the clergy deals with. And in that church, right up there, that's St. Joseph's Church, and in that church was a gentleman by the name of Father Theophilus Reisinger. In 1928, he did an exorcism that lasted 23 days. Do you guys know about this? Okay. The woman that he did the exorcism on was from Marathon, Wisconsin. Her name was Anna Eklund. So sometimes, I think it's on Netflix, they have the exorcism of Anna Eklund. That was her pseudonym. Her real name was Emma Schmidt. They gave her Anna Eklund to protect her identity. Father Reisinger had an encounter with her before, Now she was having more problems. She couldn't go to church, she couldn't say Jesus, she couldn't take communion, she couldn't read the Bible, she couldn't do any of that stuff. So they got her on a bus. Father Reisinger had reached out. It was starting to gain a lot of publicity, so they did not do the exorcism here. They took her to a church in Erling, Iowa. The Archbishop of Des Moines approved it, and they went on a bus. They told everybody on the bus the situation in case she started acting up. When they got to Erling, Iowa, there was a church and a convent where Father Reisinger performed this exorcism. If you guys have seen movies with exorcisms, you know what happens, right? They jump off the bed, they're on the ceiling, they start talking in tongues. Father Reisinger, this was 23 days. It wasn't all at once because it was just an exhausting exercise. He could not battle with these demons quickly. There were a lot of demons haunting her, but there were 4 main ones that were really a thorn in his side. The first one was her father, Jacob, who tried to entice her into a relationship with him. The second one was Mina, who was her aunt, who had confessed to killing several small children. And she was into witchcraft and things like that. The third one was Judas Iscariot. Do you guys know who Judas Iscariot was? Judas Iscariot was the guy that gave up Jesus. And then the fourth one was Beelzebub. So Father Reisinger and all the nuns in this convent would come in, and several other priests, and they worked on this woman for 23 sessions, okay? Finally, they start getting these demons to come out, okay? Beelzebub, Jacob, Mina. So this exorcism, it was so bad that by the time it was done, most of the nuns that were in the convent left. I mean, she had an episode where her body had gotten so bloated, her face, her skin, and her body weight was so bad that it bent the metal bed frame that she was in. So they finally got it out. He finally cast out the demons. He would talk to these demons in English, German, and Latin. These demons would respond in German, English, and Latin. But Emma didn't know those languages. She only knew English. So eventually he did get all these demons out of her. Finally, she was able to say, "My Jesus, mercy." So she was able to say Jesus' name after this ordeal. As far as I've been able to tell, she didn't have any other episodes after that. But there's a book about it, and when we get up to the last stop, there's a Time magazine article that I have in one of the folders we got. There's a book called Begone Satan. I got this on Amazon for like, I want to say $8. It's written by Father Karl Vogel. He was one of the priests that were present during this exorcism. And this is a count by count of what happened during that exorcism. So if that's something that you're interested in, this is a pretty good book, and it's a really short read. And he is also buried at Riverside Cemetery, where Kate Blood is buried. All right, so that's what we got for Father Reisinger. Do you guys have any questions about Father Reisinger?